And I want to see my body do that, but I cannot see it because I am doing it. So I want to see it. Hello to all my beautiful birthing people. You are looking absolutely radiant today. Seriously, stunning. Today I wanted to do a video, one that questions kind of came up quite a few times on my Q&A with a labor nurse about things that I will be doing differently with this pregnancy, labor, and postpartum period. So I have thought about this quite extensively. I want to just say, obviously, all of these things are specific to me. You might find these things helpful, you might not agree with them, and that is okay. You are allowed to disagree with me. I do ask that you be kind in the comments. I also ask that if you have anything that you would do differently with this pregnancy that you are currently pregnant with, if you've had a baby before, or anything that you are going to do to prepare for your baby, I'd love if you would leave them down below. Let's go ahead and get started. So the very first thing that I will be doing differently with this pregnancy, I will be, or have been rather, taking a prenatal vitamin that is not a gummy, which is what I took in the past, because I wanted something that had both iron, because I have had a history of anemia in my previous pregnancies, and then I add an iron like at the end as a separate pill, and I just like got real constipated, and then I get real hemorrhoidy, and it is not cute. And I have a video all about hemorrhoids if you guys want to check that out. But I'm hoping if I can do pretty consistent iron like all the way through, that like by the end, like my iron won't drop off the deep end. It probably still will. I mean, just like look at me. I just like am a radiant beacon of anemia. But fingers crossed that will be the case, because like the baby's already so heavy. I don't want to get constipated on top of that and cause some real roid rage. It is not a good look. It is not a cute thing, and it does not feel great on my butt. So I am taking Garden of Life, the 1-a-day ones. They have one that you have to take like 4 times a day, which is not something that I personally am good at doing because I also have hypothyroid. I take my Synthroid in the morning, and then I can't take any vitamins on like 4 hours on either side of that because it can mess with the absorption of the Synthroid for my hypothyroidism. So when I was having to take it multiple times a day, it just like wasn't working. I have done some research that capsules instead of tablets are actually better as far as vitamin absorption. I might, when I run out of this prenatal, see if there's one that's better for me to take based on recommendations from like a nutritionist or somebody who is really specializes in this whole field. I'm not saying that this is the best prenatal in the world. I'm just saying for what I was looking for, which was iron and folate instead of folic acid, this fit the bill. Another thing that we are changing in the pregnancy, and actually kind of a big deal because I have my anatomy scan coming up in 3 days, is that we are not finding out the biological sex of the baby. We are not going to have them tell us whether the baby is biologically male or female, what the reproductive external genital organs are. So that is both exciting and stressful. But I'm really excited to not find out. We have a boy and a girl. We have stuff for everybody. I love being a part of those deliveries. I'm hoping this will be my last ultrasound so that I don't have to continue to like not find out, because my husband's not going to be able to come with me to this ultrasound because of our rising COVID numbers in our area. My OBGYN has changed their requirements to nobody's allowed to go with the birthing person to ultrasound, which totally sucks. If this is also the case for you, I'm sorry. It freaking blows. But like, he would keep me strong from not looking, and if he's not there, like, who's to stop me from doing this? No one. The ultrasound tech is not going to be looking at me, looking at the genitalia. So I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be strong. But I have my anatomy scan on Wednesday morning, so I'll definitely update you guys on that when that happens. I actually have a video all about anatomy scans. I'll link it for you. So as far as my birth goes, a few things that I would like to do differently. I have birth stories on both of my previous births. I have had an epiduralized birth. I have had an unmedicated birth. I am kind of open to wherever the wind blows me, depending on the situation. I have all my tools in my labor toolbox. An epidural is just one of those tools. But in general, I think I would like to have an unmedicated birth again, because while in the moment, especially like the transition to delivery, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like insane and uncomfortable and horrible. Afterwards was really nice. And the labor in general, I loved being able to get up and move freely. With both of those deliveries, I did deliver on my back. With my second delivery, that was just what felt good and right for me. So I'm gonna just listen to my body and do what feels good and right for me in the moment. As far as pushing, delivery position, I think I would like to not deliver on my back. I have been a part of a lot of hands and knees deliveries recently, and I think that those are really cool, but I also am just gonna like listen to my body and get in the position that feels good and right for me at the moment. So I'm not really sure how the delivery is going to go, but after the delivery, what I would really like to have happen that didn't happen with either of my previous births, because it wasn't a thing back in the day with my first birth, and then with my second birth, we had a really tight cord around the neck that had to be cut before he was delivered to deliver him safely. I would like delayed cord clamping. There are a lot of benefits to delayed cord clamping. Babies get a lot more blood flow, up to 20% more blood that is in the placenta hanging out goes into your baby. If you do delayed cord clamping, this is going to help with their iron stores up to a year life, because breast milk does not have iron in it, and it actually doesn't have iron in it for a really good reason. Having breast milk have iron in it could actually be a breeding ground for infection and bacteria in the gut. So that's why we don't have breast milk with iron in it, and it's made that way for a purpose. But that's why delayed cord clamping is so beneficial, because we get more iron. The negatives of delayed cord clamping could be an increased risk of jaundice, but jaundice is something that we can deal with as it arises. I think the benefits of delayed cord clamping is beneficial, and I would like to wait until the cord is done pulsating. And of course, things might change if there is an emergency, if my baby needs resuscitation. I am totally open to that. Another thing that I would really want to have with my delivery, like so badly, I'm kicking myself that I didn't do it last time, is a birth photographer. I have contacted a birth photographer in our area. We have chatted back and forth. I was about to put a deposit down, and then like COVID numbers got high, and just when I was like, oh, maybe they're gonna lift some restrictions, the numbers went way up. So I'm hesitant to think that they're gonna lift restrictions anytime soon, and I didn't want to like hold up a spot in her schedule when she definitely could be making a full amount of money from somebody else. If the restrictions lift and she has a space, definitely gonna book her. She's amazing. She also offers like editing. So I think what I'm gonna do is bring this really nice camera that I'm filming on. I can then send to the birth photographer and pay her to edit them. Is an option that we can do. But I don't know, because I really want like pictures of my baby coming out of my vagina. I know it's not for everybody, but I see that every day. I think it's beautiful. I think it's cool. I think it's amazing how strong the birthing body is. And I want to see my body do that, but I cannot see it because I am doing it. And this is gonna be my last birth. So yeah. I'm gonna see it one way or the other. The pictures might be crappy iPhone pictures, but somebody's gotta take a picture of the baby coming out of me, please and thank you. Okay. So another thing that I'm going to be doing in my pregnancy that I have already done in my pregnancy and will do more of if I need it is going to see a pelvic floor PT. So I actually went and saw Dr. Michelle Little, who I have done a collaboration here with, and I will leave her Instagram below because she also does virtual visits. And she gave me a whole bunch of exercises to help with like pelvic stability. I have really bad lordosis, or like sway back. And so I'm not like aligned very well, which is causing lower back pain. And so she gave me some exercises to help with that have been really beneficial, that I have been doing. I've been doing them. And I have suffered from SPD in the past, which is symphysis pubis dysfunction, also called pelvic girdle pain in the UK and maybe other European countries as well. Basically, like everything's too loosey-goosey in my pelvis, and it literally feels like the bones in the front of my pelvis are doing this. So like if I open my legs up real wide, if I do anything asymmetrical, super uncomfortable. So that hasn't happened yet, but if that arises, I definitely will be seeing her again to help with that, to get suggestions to make that more comfortable. Because if you have an OB who tells you that sometimes being pregnant hurts, Elizabeth, perhaps be like, that may be true, but what can we do to make it hurt less? Another thing that kind of goes along with seeing a pelvic floor PT is preparing my body for an optimal position for the baby for birth, and making sure that my pelvic floor, my fascia, my muscles, my ligaments, everything is in the best, most aligned position to allow my baby to go where there's space. Babies go where there's space. Kind of the whole concept of spinning babies. So spinning babies has 3 sisters of balance that I will be making sure that I start practicing at 24 weeks. We'll leave a link for the 3 sisters of balance. Please read through the whole thing. Please make sure you're clearing any sort of new exercises or activity with your doctor. There are contraindications for some of these spinning babies techniques, but these are ways that we can provide comfort during pregnancy and also help optimally get baby in positions for labor and then help with comfort and positioning during labor. So spinning babies, if you are a labor nurse, definitely recommend you take spinning babies workshop. It's been really, really beneficial in my practice. And if you are a birthing person, you can actually take a spinning babies parenting class that can also be really beneficial. So something to look into. I'm a big fan of spinning babies and supporting physiological birth and comfort during pregnancy. Now, after I have the baby, there are a few things that I'm going to do differently that I have not done or I did not do as well with my second pregnancy. And one of them is going to be watching out for my mental health. After my second, because of all the issues that we had feeding and everything that was going on, I suffered from some postpartum depression and anxiety that I definitely want to avoid this time. More than likely, this baby might have some issues with the tongue tie, right? It's genetic. It might happen again. It might not, but it might. I already have a whole list of resources in the community to help my baby feed. I need to make sure that I am also in that process that is very stressful and difficult for me personally, dealing with my mental health. So because of COVID-19, telehealth visits have become a thing that are so beneficial and great, and I definitely will be seeking a 2-week telehealth visit with my OB to talk about and screen for postpartum depression. And then as many other times in the future that I feel like I need to do that, I want to do it again because I think it's really important for me, for my family, for my older kiddos, for everyone involved that I am on top of my postpartum mental health. I have not quite decided this yet, but I am playing around with just starting Zoloft back. It's just something that I want to have in my thought process of okay, yes, this is challenging, but is this more challenging because of where I am mentally? Because the hardest part about postpartum depression is that when you have postpartum depression, it doesn't feel like you have postpartum depression. It just feels like this is you now because there are so many changes that happen to a person who gives birth postpartum with all of the hormone changes and all the changes in sleep and the change in focus from just solely you and your older kiddos to a brand new human being who literally is helpless, save for you and the other adults around you. It's really hard to recognize postpartum depression in yourself. So I just really want to make sure that I have a handle on that this time. Another thing that I think kind of goes hand in hand with that is my first couple of weeks postpartum, I'm really going to try and take it easy and just rest and lay in with my baby and give my body a chance to heal. This is the advice that I give to other people that I did not follow with my first 2 pregnancies because we were getting out of the house, we were entertaining people, we were doing things that weren't necessary but felt necessary at the time. And that is the one nice thing about COVID, is it's going to restrict people coming into our house for better or for worse, but it will help me rest and relax a little bit more. Now, with that being said, I'm going to see if my mother will quarantine for 2 weeks, either starting at 37 weeks when I quarantine, or because I, at that point, would be the biggest risk of giving her COVID because I've been in the hospital after I deliver, quarantining for 2 weeks, and then coming and staying with us for who knows how long, so that she can really help with my older kiddos. It's going to be really important in helping me maintain my mental health to have my mom there as a support system, and if you have an option like that, accept it. Another big thing that I'm going to be doing differently is when people are like, oh my gosh, let me know what I can do to help. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I got a meal train, baby. Sign on up. Because I in general am really bad at being yeah, I'll let you know, and never saying when I need help. But I know as a friend, when I offer to do something for another person after they've had a baby, or just in general, I wouldn't offer it unless I wanted to do it. So I need to just accept that if people are offering me help, it's that they want to do it. And if they're not offering anything specific, maybe it's because they don't know what specific things I need. And I need to be able to vocalize what I need, whether that's like, oh my gosh, could you take my laundry, do my laundry? Asking for help. And also getting myself ready more for the postpartum period. So I definitely this time I'm going to be making way more freezer meals because I never really did that before, and just kind of getting things ready, getting snacks ready, preparing so that we have food that is readily and easily available but also healthy. And if you guys want, we can do a video where we make freezer meals together because I think that could be really beneficial. And I would definitely, if you have any good freezer meals, leave them down below for me because I am all about freezer meals. I got an Instant Pot, I got a crock pot. I feel like I need an air fryer because then I'll just have the trifecta. But I think preparing more for the postpartum period is going to be really important for me and for my mental health. Okay, so that was the 10 things I'm going to do differently with this pregnancy. I'm going to end you with a bump shot because I am 20 weeks today. There's my baby. Growing. I have started to feel him or her move, which is exciting. Until next time. Bye guys.